I'm proud to be gay, and I consider being gay among the greatest gifts God has given me. Those words sent shockwaves, not because of what they were, but who said them. Tim Cook, CEO of Apple, a man whose company had more cash than most countries, finally saying what millions had long suspected. Cook became the first openly gay CEO of a Fortune 500 company, challenging decades of corporate silence. Investors paused. The tech world blinked. And yet, in Hollywood, the stakes were far higher. At the height of Prison Break, Miller was one of the most recognizable faces on television. He had the stoic expression, the perfect jawline, the kind of intensity casting directors dream of. But behind the camera, Miller was breaking out of something far bigger than any fictional prison. For years, he denied rumors about his sexuality, often brushing off questions or giving rehearsed non-answers. The truth was simple but suffocating. Hollywood, at the time, wasn't built for gay male leads. Then came 2013, and a quiet letter to the St. Petersburg International Film Festival, where Miller was invited as a guest of honor. He declined. In the letter, he wrote, "As a gay man, I must decline. I cannot participate in an event hosted by a country where people like me are being systematically denied their basic right to live and love openly." It was the moment the walls came down. Fans didn't cancel him. They admired him. The internet turned the once private actor into an accidental activist. But while Miller was stepping out of the shadows, another artist was quietly changing music itself. In 2012, hip-hop was still the last place anyone expected vulnerability. And yet, Frank Ocean, the mysterious member of Odd Future, decided to do something no rapper had done before. Confess his first love was a man. He didn't post a photo. He didn't do a talk show. He uploaded a note on Tumblr, a poetic, heartbreaking letter about unrequited love. Not for a woman, but for a man. The internet exploded. Tyler, the creator, his bandmate, joked about it online. Jay-Z publicly praised him. The hip-hop world paused. Frank Ocean didn't come out. He shifted the culture. And years later, when Lil Nas X arrived, he would crash through that same door Frank had quietly opened. At first, he was just a meme, a country rap hybrid who rode a horse straight into Billboard history. But when Lil Nas X came out in 2019, the timing was almost comedic, because Old Town Road was sitting at #1 for a record-breaking 17 weeks. The biggest song in the world. And suddenly, its creator was rewriting what it meant to be a gay black man in music. Some fans didn't know how to react. Country radio ignored it. Hip-hop purists called it a gimmick. And Nas? He doubled down, wearing pink cowboy suits, performing with demonic dancers, and trolling every critic with the kind of confidence that only comes from turning your vulnerability into your brand. And yet, while Nas X turned sexuality into spectacle, another artist found peace in simplicity. From heartbreak anthems to Grammy stages, Sam Smith's rise was steeped in melancholy. But in 2014, when asked about their inspiration, Sam said quietly, "I've never hidden it. I'm just not shouting it from the rooftops." What followed was a slow, emotional journey, not just of being gay, but later, of identifying as non-binary. Some fans struggled to understand the pronoun changes. Others embraced it instantly. Sam responded the only way they knew how, by singing through it. Their vulnerability became their superpower, proving that emotion didn't make you weak. It made you relatable. But Hollywood wasn't always as forgiving. And in 2020, one name reminded the world that even fame couldn't protect you from prejudice. Elliot Page had already lived one life in public, as Ellen Page, the breakout star of Juno. For years, Page navigated Hollywood under the weight of a lie, playing roles that didn't align with their identity. Then, in 2020, came a heartfelt Instagram post. "Hi friends, I want to share with you that I am trans." It was direct, raw, and brave, instantly becoming one of the most impactful coming-out moments of the decade. The world reacted, some with applause, some with ignorance, Netflix re-edited credits, fan pages updated names overnight, and Elliot reintroduced themselves to the same audience that had watched them grow up. But Elliot wasn't the first star to turn public scrutiny into self-acceptance. Long before social media, there was a man who came out on live television and made it look effortless. His name? Neil Patrick Harris. In the mid-2000s, Harris was everywhere. From How I Met Your Mother to hosting the Tonys, he was America's charming overachiever. But in 2006, as tabloids speculated about his private life, Harris cut through the noise with one sentence: "I am happy to dispel any rumors. I am a very content gay man living my life to the fullest," and that was it. No speech, no scandal, no over-explanation, just fact. It became a textbook example of how to come out without losing control of the narrative. Of course, before Harris normalized it, another icon revolutionized it: Ellen DeGeneres. In the late 1990s, coming out wasn't just career suicide. It was a cultural earthquake. And yet, Ellen DeGeneres decided to pull the pin herself. It happened in 1997, during an episode of her sitcom Ellen. Her character and Ellen herself both came out on national television.
"I'm gay,"
she said, into an airport microphone. The audience gasped, the laugh track faded, and the world changed. The episode made headlines across America. One network affiliate refused to air it. Sponsors pulled out. Critics called it too political. But for millions of viewers watching in secret, Ellen's words were a lifeline. Her show was eventually canceled. But Ellen herself became the face of authenticity in entertainment. 2 decades later, she was the queen of daytime TV, shaking hands with presidents and giving away Teslas like candy. But not everyone got the same happy ending, because for the next star, the world wasn't just watching, it was waiting for him to fail. For years, Ricky Martin was the king of charm. Livin' La Vida Loca wasn't just a song, it was a global phenomenon. He danced, he smiled, and every interview ended with the same question: "Are you gay?" He dodged, deflected, smiled politely. Because in the early 2000s, being gay in Latin pop wasn't just risky, it was impossible. Then, in 2010, Ricky posted a short message on his website: "I am proud to say that I am a fortunate homosexual man. I am very blessed to be who I am." No press conference, no scandal, just truth. And suddenly, the world's heartthrob became something else entirely. A symbol of liberation for millions who had been too scared to say the same thing out loud. But while Ricky's story was one of relief, the next one was about restraint. Someone who let her silence do the talking. Because Jodie Foster never really came out. She just stopped pretending. By the time she won her first Oscar, Foster had already been a Hollywood veteran for over 20 years. She grew up in front of cameras, mastered every interview, and made sure no one ever really knew her. For decades, tabloids speculated. She smiled through it all. Then, at the 2013 Golden Globes, she stepped up to the mic and said, cryptically but confidently, "I already did my coming out about 1,000 years ago. Back in the Stone Age, it was classic Jodie. Subtle, dry, intellectual. No confetti, no PR rollout, just a quiet declaration from someone who had nothing left to prove." But while Foster preferred privacy, the next name couldn't have cared less about subtlety. Kristen Stewart. For years, Stewart was known as the Twilight Girl, the awkward starlet with a perpetual scowl and a vampire boyfriend. But after her public breakup with Robert Pattinson, the narrative shifted. Suddenly, she was seen holding hands with women. And when reporters asked, she didn't hide it. "I'm just trying to acknowledge people in my life who've made me who I am," she told Elle. That was it, a perfectly casual statement that became a headline worldwide. Kristen didn't come out. She evolved. And in doing so, she became one of the first modern actresses to erase the line between personal truth and public image. But while Kristen was casually rewriting what it meant to be authentic, one man was making authenticity his entire identity. Billy Porter, and subtlety was not in his vocabulary. From kinky boots to pose, Porter built a career on defiance. He didn't just wear gowns to the Oscars, he commanded them. Every appearance was a statement. Every speech, a challenge to the old rules of masculinity. "I spent decades playing small," he once said. "Now I'm playing big, and they can't stop me." Porter's flamboyance wasn't just fashion, it was armor. And for a generation of queer performers, it was proof that visibility could be power. But for some, the path wasn't about defiance, it was about healing. Because when Colton Haynes came out, it wasn't about making headlines. It was about staying alive. The teen wolf and Arrow actor had built a career on perfection. The clean-cut model look, the charming smile, the Hollywood promise. But behind the smile, Colton was falling apart. Years of hiding, pressure, and fear led to anxiety and addiction. When he finally came out publicly in 2016, it wasn't a grand reveal. It was survival. "I should have made a comment or a statement, but I just wasn't ready," he later said. Fans embraced him. Studios didn't care. And Colton finally found peace, not in fame, but in honesty. And as he rebuilt himself, another actress was proving that love stories don't always have to fit Hollywood's mold. Sarah Paulson, one of the few stars who made age gaps and openness look effortless. Paulson never made a grand announcement. She just lived her life. Her relationship with actress Holland Taylor raised eyebrows, mostly because of their 32-year age difference. But Paulson didn't flinch. "If someone wants to spend their time thinking I'm strange for loving the person I love, that's their problem," she said. It was classic Sarah, witty, unbothered, and fiercely herself. And in many ways, her confidence mirrored another British actor whose career has quietly become a masterclass in subtle authenticity. Jonathan Bailey didn't just play a romantic lead, he redefined one. In the polished world of Bridgerton, Bailey plays a heartthrob straight out of a Jane Austen fantasy. Off-screen, he's been open about being gay, but admits it wasn't always easy. "I reached a point where I thought, if being open ruins my career, then maybe it's not the career for me." That honesty didn't ruin him. It made him one of Netflix's most bankable leading men. And while Bailey thrived in fiction, Tessa Thompson didn't make an announcement. She made a statement through action. Known for her roles in Creed, Thor, and Westworld, Thompson became one of Hollywood's most visible queer actresses. But she never used labels. "I'm attracted to men and also to women," she said. "If I bring a woman home or a man, we don't have to have the conversation." It wasn't about politics. It was about freedom, a sentiment shared by another young star redefining representation in real time. And that, perhaps, is what ties all of these stories together.